Hello again, everyone, and welcome back again for another video. What we got going on today is another case. This one is a Cougar MG140 Air. I got this one in white. We're going to open it up, take a look at it, tear it apart, see what it looks like on the inside, and then I'm going to do a build in it. And then this one's going to get sold off on eBay as well. So if you're in the market for a new computer, keep watching. Maybe this one might interest you. All right, so let me cut this scene here, get this unboxed, and let's take a look at this case. Alrighty, I got this all tore apart here and up on top of the desk. Um, this is actually a pretty small case, not very tall. Uh, let's see here, we'll start in the front here so you can see kind of how tall this is. This is two 120s in here. Obviously, we can't get three. It's not tall enough for three fans, so two fans is a max. Looks like we can get some 140s in here, so we can get two 140s tops in the front here. You can see some little gaps here for getting your wires through. Not too bad. This is nice and open, so we should get some good airflow going through there. Looking on this side, our fans that they give us are RGB, addressable RGB, but they are 3-pin. I don't know if we can see that in the camera there. These are 3-pin connectors on this. Not too happy about that, but it is better than that last case, which gave me Molex, and I'm still laughing about that. All right. Anyways, looking here on the sides, you see these little black rubber things here. This is actually, I would imagine, would be for holding hard drives. Kind of does the same way that, who is it? Cooler Master does it with some of their cases where you take the drive and you put these little pegs on the bottom and then you press them in, and that's actually how they stay in on the case here. So we can get two SSDs right there, as you can see. Down here we got this kind of like panel going on here. There's a couple screws on the sides here. Two here and one screw here. I'm guessing that this is removable. I don't know what the point of that would be, though. I mean, there's not like there's much behind it. I suppose it would be to get to the wires. I notice a little, I don't know if we can see this kind of like a little gap there. And it kind of travels underneath there. So there's a bit of a opening there, and I'll bet you I can get a fucking RGB strip in here. Not sure how that would look on the glass, and I'll have to look at that later, but I might do that. I might just put an RGB strip in there, just for effect. But anyways, looking at the top here, now this does come with a cover, but I don't have it on at the moment. We'll put that on at the end. You can see we've got one USB 2.0 there, two USB 3.0 there, headphone, microphone right there, our LED lights for our hard drive and power. This would be the LED button or reset button, I guess, whichever you want, and of course your power button. Flipping it around to the back here. Yeah, our LED is actually on this somewhere here. It's just basically a reset button marked as an LED button. Don't know why they do that. I don't know why they just don't do, see right there, it says RGB, but it's actually the reset. But anyways, so looking on the back here, let's get this out of the way. We don't have very many tie down points here. I see 3 here, and that's it. Well, I guess, there's a couple here around the perimeter of this. But otherwise, there isn't much at all here for tie down points for your wires. So this is going to be one of those where you do a lot of tucking in there to make it look pretty decent. You can see there's a couple SSD mount things right here. You can get a couple more drives right there. So you got, what, 4 drives then total right here, and then probably a couple more down here on this hard drive rack, which is removable, it looks like. Yes, it is. Flipping it around on the bottom here, you can see we get a kind of a cheapy filter going on there for our power supply. Here's the screws where you would take the hard drive rack out. Looking on the back, you can see that the power supply only goes in one way. It is not reversible, which is, makes sense since there's no bitting up on top there. It's got the slide out type thing for your PCI Express, and these are the breakaway type that, are pretty useless. Hate them. All right, but anyways, down at the bottom here, you see we got a couple ports for getting some cables up through. One right there for our GPU power. This will fit a micro ATX. ITX would stop right about here. So if you put like an ITX in here, you're going to have kind of a... Let me tilt this up here. It'll stop right about here, and you'll have like this much of a gap in the back there. I don't really care for that, but that just kind of seems the way cases are anymore that advertise fitting ITX boards is that, of course they got the things here, but then there's this big gap, and I really wish that was a little better, but that's all right. All right, anyway, so you got like this little gap here, no grommets on it, of course, to get your power leads through. Not very wide. I mean, they're fairly long. It should fit them. Let me see here. We'll grab that. Yeah, I guess, that's not too bad. You don't got to thread it in there too hard. Not too bad. Okay, so we can get 5 fans total in here, and that's what we will put in here is 5 fans. Now you can see these come with black RGB fans, which I think looks really tacky on a white case. So, tell you what here, let me cut this scene. I'm going to start doing a build in this. We'll make this one a fairly simple build since this is a fairly simple case. And we'll start by doing the fan. So let me cut this scene here and start building, and I'll come back here in just a bit. Alright, I've made a little bit of progress here. I have my new fans in that I wanted to put in here. I put some Fantex in here, some white ones. And I did a little bit of experimenting on this bottom section here, because this part here, like I said, is removable. So what I did is I played around with one of my RGB strips, and I put it right down here at the bottom between this and the glass, just to see what it would look like. It does shine through. Could be a little brighter. It's not like my Fantex G360A where it shines really bright, but you can see it. The strip that I put in here. So let me shut off the lights here. So you can kind of see that glow a little bit. So that's just kind of the start of this computer here. I think I'm going to leave this in here. I don't look too bad. Wasn't much more to add that to it. Let me take that off so you can see it. 1 second here. I don't know how close I can get down into there, but yeah, there was like this gap here, and I thought, man, this would just be perfect for an RGB strip. And as you can see, if I can block off this light, looks really, really good. So, all right, let me cut this scene here, and I'm going to keep building. All right, now ain't this a bitch? So I'm doing the build, and there was a problem with the motherboard. Check this out. The fuckers sent me the wrong I/O shield. This one, I mean, you can see it doesn't match here. It's made for, you got the PS2 port here, 2 USB. This one's only got 1 USB, and you can see that the Wi-Fi thing on it is spaced out further than what it needs to be. So that pisses me off. See, I got this board as a refurb. That's usually how I get a lot of them. I'll get like some refurb stuff in. And it was supposed to come complete, what have you. But yeah, this is what they fucking sent me. So this is going to delay my build. Let's take a look here at what it looks like so far. You can see I got the RGB lights in there, the ones down at the bottom. Let's take a look at that front there. So yeah, this is starting to shape up here, but it sucks now because I'm going to have to do something about this. I'm either going to have to put a different board in there or contact the fucking vendor, tell them what they did. A bunch of shit. All right, let me cut this scene. I guess I'll get back to it when I get back to it. All right. So it's been a couple days, and I finally got the new bracket in from my distributor, and I got that put in, and now I can continue where I left off. And I got my board set up here on some little poppy thingies there. I just want to do a quick test on this. So I have it plugged into the HDMI. I got the power on there. Got my little testing lead here, and I'm going to go ahead and fire this up. So as you can see, our fan's spinning right there, and if we look up on the screen, it's doing nothing. Doing nothing. Not even kicking on. So, what's the problem here? Do I got a bad board? This is a brand new processor. It's a Ryzen 5 4600G. As I had mentioned, I had bought this board as a refurb. Now, I could cheat here if I want to, because I happen to have right here, you'll see it, another A320M AC board with all the fixings in here. You know, here's my back plate, there's my antenna, there's the board right there. Because like I said, this one here that I'm using is a refurb, and this one over here that's out of camera sight right now is brand new. So more than likely what the problem is that it needs to, let me turn this off here, it needs to have the BIOS in it flashed to be able to accept the newer processor. 1 second here, let's go to the screen and I'll cover that real fast. Okay, so starting out on ASRock's website here, if we go under support for this motherboard, it'll actually show us which CPUs are supported on here. And like I said, I've got the 4600G. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go down into this list and find our 4600G. Here it is. And it's going to tell us which BIOS that we need to do this with. Now, this here says we need the P720 BIOS, or higher, of course, in order for it to support the processor that I want to put in here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go to our BIOS thing here and download this. Now, which one do we do? That depends, and that's why I kind of wanted to go here and focus on it. Now, some of these BIOSes are bridge BIOSes. What that means is that you don't want to upgrade them to like the latest BIOS. Let's say I'm on BIOS 1.90. You don't want to jump to 7.40 and just go, okay, it's good now. You definitely want to go onto the manufacturer's page where the BIOS downloads are and see if any of these are a jumper BIOS. And you'll know that because it'll say it doesn't recommend that you flash this one until you've used this other BIOS first. You'll see that on here. Like right here. Here it is. This one requires to update to BIOS 7.0 before updating this version. So right there we know that 7.0 is a bridge BIOS, and right here it even says bridge BIOS for 7.10, so that we know if we want to upgrade, we're going to first need to bump it up to this 7.0, flash that on there, and then bump that up to the 7.4 after we're done with that. Then our CPU should work. Now, I'm not going to show the BIOS flashing and stuff on camera, basically because this is going to differ depending on the board manufacturer and their procedures. I mean, you know, ASRock's got their own procedure and blah, blah, blah. Maybe we might do a different video on that some other time, but for now, this is what I need to do, is I need to flash the BIOS that's on there. Now, this can be a problem for you if all you have is the CPU that you bought. What you'll need is an older CPU that's compatible, if you have one of those. Maybe a friend that has a compatible CPU that'll let you borrow it. Some people end up having to take their board into a repair shop and have them flash it for them, which can cost you money. And then another option would be to go to the AMD RMA site and request that they send you a boot kit. which what they usually mail you is like a Athlon 200 GE. Now, I actually got in an argument with an idiot about this the other day. We were talking about B550 boards, and he was talking about how, oh, only the 3000 series and higher will work on there. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. No, 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 no. No. A couple things. One, it depends on the ROM size of the BIOS, so how much they could fit in there and how much support they could leave in for the older CPUs. But in general, all of the G series, like the 200GE Athlon, the 2200G, the 2400G, all those actually do work in the B550 board. Now, a lot of times they'll post, but they won't recognize your drives, and the operating system won't boot or nothing like that. It boots up enough so that you can go into the BIOS and do this flash procedure. So that's what you'll need basically is a either a G series Athlon or Ryzen, or a compatible CPU for the motherboard. Now, what I have here is I just call this the house chip. This is just a regular Ryzen 2400G, compatible with about every board on the market. Yes, even B550. So that's basically all I'm going to do then is I'm going to take this here and I'm going to pull my fan off, swap the CPUs out, temporarily put that 2400 in, do my BIOS flashing, and then put the new CPU in, and hopefully it should post. So let me cut this scene. I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and I will come back here in just a second. All right, so I'm progressing here a little bit. I've got my fans in. I got the motherboard mounted in, as you can see. Just something I wanted to point out to you if you're going to build in this case. Now, like I said, I got the fans in. I got a couple right here up on top. Now, if you're going to put an AIO in this, you're not going to be able to put this up on top. I don't know if we can get this on camera here. Let's see if we can maybe move my light up here so you can see this. Let's see if I can get this in here. But there is not much depth there for clearance for the memory. Let's see if I can angle my camera down here. Maybe you can see it. But the memory is just about to bump. There's maybe, let's see here if I can tell you how much exactly. Oop, flip the ruler around the other way. There is about, we're going to go, we'll say about 17 millimeters of clearance before we start hitting these RAM modules here. So that can be a problem if you're going to install an AIO in this case. You'll for sure want to go up front here, or maybe even a 120 in the back. That would be fine too, I would imagine. But up on top is going to be a no-go. Now, the motherboard that's in here is a micro ATX size board, of course, but it's not as wide as most standard ATX board or micro ATX boards are. So there's a little bit of a gap right here. Some cases this gap will be filled. Sometimes this can look a little tacky if it's a real wide gap, but there is kind of a noticeable gap here if you're using like a board this size or even a ITX board. So for maximum, I don't even know what the word is that I want here. Anyways, you'd want to get the largest MATX size that would actually screw down into here too and end up right about there. But yeah, anyways, so it's getting there. It's getting there. We got a little black and white thing going on. Let me cut the scene and we'll just keep on building. Alrighty, the build is done, so let's do like I usually do. Let me switch the keyboard over here. We'll go to the other screen, and we'll take a look at the stats on this. Let me right-click here. Sorry, wrong one. Task Manager. And as you can see, the CPU we are running on this is a AMD Ryzen 5 4600G. Memory is 16 gigs of PC 3200 speed RAM. Disk 0 is a Seagate 500 gig hard drive. This is actually the backup drive. On our main drive, we're running a 512 gig XPG Spectric S40G M.2. Graphics, of course, would be the AMD Radeon integrated graphics going on there. And let's show you a couple specs on this. Let me, hold on a second here. There's a different mouse in my way. You guys can't see it, but I can. All right, get that out of the way there. All right, going over here, we'll open up Cinebench. And in Cinebench, come on, Cinebench, there we go. Under the multi-core, it scored a 9,515. In the single core, it scored a 1269. I ran Heaven on this. I did two different benchmarks on this. The first we'll show you is the 1080p. On 1080p, we scored 36 frames per second with a max of 78. Usually, like on these G series chips, I actually recommend 720p. I mean, obviously, you can see it'll do 1080p, but it's not that high. But if we do these 720p scores in Heaven, you can see that it scored 81 frames a second with a max of 166. That's not too bad. So, you know, my advice, if you're getting like these 4600G, 5600G, 5700G, 720p, maybe low setting 1080p gaming rigs. Pretty decent for the money, I guess. But anyways, let's go ahead and let me switch this here, and we will shut off this main screen here and turn on the 4K cam. Let's let this focus a little bit here. And, oops, here, if it focuses, is our build. 1 second. I tell you, one of these days I'm going to replace this camera to something that's decent. This thing sucks. Let's let this focus here. All right. There's our build. Let me turn this a little bit, maybe so you can see this front a little bit here. Let me take my camera right there. You can see the front, top, sides. Not too bad. Now the case fans I'm using in here. Oops, excuse me. Put that back there. The case fans I'm using here and the sleeves that you can see some black sleeves going on there are actually Okinos brand. I don't know if I'm even saying that right, but they sent these over to me. I had some black sleeve cables here and the black fans, which are Okinos brand. Now, I have to speak of these since these are basically fans that you probably have never heard of. They actually are really nice. The fans were 4-pin PWM. I like that. The RGB looks decent on there. It's controlled 3 different ways. It's controlled by the motherboard or by, of course, the buttons on top here. Of course, you can see me pressing that and changing the RGB going on in there. It's also controlled by a button in the back of the controller, which I think is kind of silly, but it does. So yeah, that works just great. I'm actually pretty impressed with these. Now, they're not a sponsor, but like I said, that they did send them where I'm a Vine member. They sent these over to me to try out, and I definitely 5-starred these. So you definitely want to look for these on Amazon. They were only like, what was it, 39 bucks? What's it called? The Okinos A12 RGB. Really decent, which was really surprising for me. You don't really get that kind of quality from some of the cheaper fans most of the time. And I was impressed with the controller. I was impressed with the RGB. I like the PWM. Got to give a shout out for these fans here that I'm using. And of course the sleeve cables ain't too bad either. Sleeve cables are sleeve cables to me. I mean, you can buy like the cable mod stuff, which is a lot more premium, but if you're into the cheap stuff, these are just fine too. These are going to ship with this computer to the new owner in case they want to stick a video card in here, because, you know, obviously we're running integrated. But yeah, if we have a look at this here, we can see that the M.2 down there lights up. We can see the memory lights up. Now, on boards like this, they don't have like okay, this is an ASRock, so it doesn't have the polychrome sync feature in it. So you actually can't control the memory or the M.2 color. So it's going to run kind of like on a generic rainbow pattern at all times. That's kind of one of the disadvantages of buying the cheaper boards to save money on. But at least we do have, a nice cool remote here for hiccups again. I always get hiccups for our RGB, which works just fine, and it looks great. Now, if you look at that spare hard drive there, you can see I mounted it on the wall. I did a holographic wrap on that one too, just to kind of make the colors pop a little more on this, give it a nice little effect. That looks pretty neat. The case, I like this case. Not too hard to work with, but like I had mentioned before, top AIO will be a problem if that is your intention. Other than that, then it's a pretty standard case here. Not too bad. I don't know what else to say about it really. It's just kind of average, I guess. I mean, I like Cougar, but yeah. But yeah, it looks all right. Pretty good flow here. I mean, I did some Cinebench on it, and tested out the temperature on this with the cooling that I have in here, and of course, the stock fans. And it reached about, what was it, 71 C in Cinebench. So, I mean, it's all right. It wasn't overheating. So, I mean, what are we going to complain about here? So, I think this would be a nice little entry-level to mid-level gaming PC for somebody. This is, of course, going up for sale on eBay. If you watch my videos and you catch them early, that's when you'll see these going up on eBay if you are interested in buying it. Like all of them, I set them at 99 cents, and well, let the market dictate what they think it's worth to them, and then that's what it goes for. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. This is probably going to be my last video of the year. Yeah, it's the 30th of December, so doubt I'm going to have anything out before then. So this is going to be the final build of the year for this year. Next year, I got a couple of them planned. I got some boards on the shelf. I don't really have any cases planned out. And really, for me, I mean, if you kind of notice, that's really where I focus, is not so much what boards I'm putting in here, which components, but which cases I'm using. And the pickings have been kind of shitty lately. I mean, there's other cases that I haven't covered that I can. But, I mean, just in my opinion, they're plain looking, or they look like they're shitty with the airflow. So I kind of look around, hopefully grab something that not many people have really covered or have never been covered. And those are the ones I do. So, I mean, I've got some parts, like I said, on the shelf, ready for another build. Don't know what we're doing into the next year. I will keep looking around until I find something. Still got my sons to do, and I've talked about that for like the last couple of months. He's probably pissed off at me now. I haven't done his yet, but I know that's going to be on the agenda for next year. But this is going to be the Cougar MG140 case, guys. So that's it for my ranting. That's it for me for the year. I will see you all next year. Everybody have a great new year. Get a designated driver, and I will talk to you later, guys.